Right. There are reports emerging that approximately 1,000 U.S. Marine Corps personnel have been deployed now in the entire Middle East, and this comes amidst the speculation that U.S. may be trying to take control of Iran's crown jewel, the Kharg Island. Why do you think this is happening, and is this a distinct possibility? There have been similar threats that have been made from the U.S.'s side. Do you think it's actually likely to happen now?
Well, if U.S. is interested in expanding the war, it has two main options. One is attacking the civil infrastructure, or the second one is using the Marines that just came to the Gulf in order to invade Iran. Now, they can invade the three islands near the Hormuz Straits, the Greater and Lesser Tunab and Abu Musa, thus actually challenging or putting pressure on Iran to open the straits. Or they can take Kharg Island. Why Kharg Island is so important is because of the fact that 90% of the Iranian oil actually are exiting through Kharg Island. There is no production of oil there, but the pipelines are pushing the oil from the oil fields in Iran. Now, if you're going to do that, it's extremely important because then it will be a significant blow to the Iranians' ability to export oil. But we have to say a couple of things of that we have to emphasize. It will be very hard to do so because the Iranians are getting ready for that. They're mining the surroundings of the island itself. Second, if the U.S. will try to invade, they will attack the island from Iran. It's only 30 kilometers between the island and Iran itself. Iran is not going to capitulate, and it's not going to open the Hormuz Straits, even if the Kharg Island will be taken. And the Iranian retaliation will be very harsh, and they will attack the energy facilities in the area, in the Gulf states, like they said. So Kharg Island is not a silver bullet solution for this war. It can definitely put a pressure on Iran, but you also have to remember that Iran can exit its oil from other places, not only from Kharg Island. So the bottom line of things that definitely the U.S. can do that. Unfortunately, I don't think it's a silver bullet that actually will lead to the end of this war.
Right. You have Benjamin Netanyahu who says that we are changing the face of the Middle East. Do you believe that this war is permanently altering the power balance in the region, with Israel now becoming a regional superpower?
Well, we don't know how this war will end, so it's very hard to assess that. I think that if this war will end and this regime stays, not be toppled, then definitely we cannot talk about the new Middle East. Actually, it will be an old Middle East, even more worse than that. I think that Iran is more radicalized than the war started. Yes, Iran is weaker, but more radicalized and more chances, for example, of rethinking about its nuclear strategy and maybe try to build a nuclear bomb. Second, I don't see the Gulf states rushing towards Israel after the war. I think there's a lot of anger in the fact that U.S. and Israel pushed them to this war. Maybe behind the scene we'll see more cooperation because Israel definitely has a lot of technology that it really can help the Gulf states to counter Iran in the future. But I think that this war is not solving the Palestinian problem. This war actually is not helping us in seeing it by the Gulf states as a moderate actor in the Middle East. So I think that the bottom line of that is I don't think that this war actually will change the Israeli posture in the region. Unfortunately, I'm not sure it's actually there will be a change. I'm not sure it will be for the negative side and not from the positive side. Again, we have to wait and see how the war will end. But for now, I think that this is the situation.
Right. As a Middle East expert, I must ask you, how long can Arab states withstand this situation? The oil, critical energy production is effectively being disrupted. Has this war then created a lasting sense of insecurity amongst the Gulf states? And also, of course, their image earlier was of safe havens. There are also mixed reactions coming in. There is, for instance, Qatar's foreign ministry spokesperson who said that Iran's a country that has existed since ancient times and will continue to do so, and that coexistence is necessary. Now, this is a day after Donald Trump called Mohammed bin Salman a warrior and said that he's fighting alongside the United States. Doesn't this suggest there's some amount of confusion or strategic ambiguity amongst the Arab states itself? On the one hand, they're being hit. On the other hand, these are the kind of reactions coming in.
Well, I think that this war is a catch-22 for the Gulf states. I don't think there is a good solution for this war for them, because if the war will end and this regime will stay, then they will have to interact with a very radicalized regime in the future. And if this war will end when this regime is being toppled, then definitely they will suffer the consequences of refugees, problem with the maritime routes and things like that. So I don't think they have a good solution. This is why they were against this war from the get-go. They were afraid they're going to pay the price for what Israel and the U.S. are trying to achieve. And now I think they think that they were right. The problem that they have is they don't know what to do. Because, yes, they can attack Iran, but then I don't think they will add more to the Israeli and U.S. attacks. And they will cross an Iranian red line that actually will increase the Iranian activity against them. We have to remember that Iran can hit them hard in terms of the energy facilities, but also the civilization capabilities that they have. So I think that they are very cautious in that regard. The second thing that definitely they can do something against the U.S., but as I mentioned, I don't think it will have a significant effect given what Israel and the U.S. is doing today against Iran. So I think the option of attacking Iran is still there, obviously. But at the end of the day, I'm not sure that they think that actually will be the solution for the problem that they have. I think that they're hoping that this war will end. Regarding Saudi Arabia and MBS, we actually didn't hear him. So we're just hearing reports coming back and forth that he's in favor of continuing this war. But we have other reports saying that he's against it. So we don't know exactly what he's saying. I think there's a big ambiguous in purpose. I think the Saudis in purpose doing that because definitely if they will declare they're joining the war, the risk of Saudi is not only from Iran, but also from the Houthis in Yemen. So I think that they are playing that very cautiously to see how things will develop. But definitely in the end of the war, there's going to be a dramatic change in their strategic way of thinking regarding the U.S. presence in the region, regarding the diversification of support, maybe going also with the Chinese and the Russian. Definitely rearmament, we'll see that dramatically being increased. So the bottom line of things is that I don't think that they have a good solution for this, for where they're staying right now. And definitely after the war, they will have to think hard and clear what to do, knowing that they also need to interact more or less with the new Iranian regime because it's just across the bay and or the Gulf, and they cannot ignore them. So definitely they have a war cut out for them in terms of what to do now and definitely the day after the war.
Danny Citrinowicz, thank you so much for taking the time out and speaking to us here at Times Now.
Thank you very much for inviting me.